that our Father wants us to be as mature as we can, to be adults, to be Jews that take responsibility for our place in history and not just wait passively for everything to happen. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've cried when I read those stories about people in the Warsaw Ghetto turning down the free tickets to get to Eretz Yisrael and saying, no, we'll wait for Moshiach. Yeah, Moshiach didn't show in the Warsaw Ghetto. And Moshiach didn't show in the Lodz Ghetto or in the Vilna Ghetto. But Moshiach was there, just behind El Al, behind the Zionist machinery that got the Jews out of Europe they could get out. You know, like that old story. God sends you a life raft. You say, no, I'll wait for the angel. Sorry, that is the angel. So we need to kind of work on the practical side of things along with the mystical side. We need them both. And I think that the Ramchal talks about that in his book Mishkanei Elyon, that the third Beit HaMikdash is a spiritual dugma and it is a physical building and they will come together. Now when and how, I'm not sure. But where, I do know. It's right down the road here. And when it happens, you're not going to be able to get a ticket. We'll be lucky if you stand in line for a week to get close to the Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi. Now the Rosh Hashiva, the Mekubalim in Nar Shalom, Rabbi Shalom Shmueli told me 25 years ago, when the Beit HaMikdash comes, people won't even be able to get into Eretz Yisrael. Because it's going to be such a momentous time, the whole world's going to try to get in here. They're going to have to build a lot more airports. Okay, so with all that in mind, this process, this internal transformation is about responsibility, about joining God in the process of history, about taking our power of choice and using it for the highest choice of all. For the choice of coming to Eretz Yisrael and being part of the building of that temple. I went up on Har HaBayit for the first time in 30 years. And a lot of friends had said, oh, it's such a high spiritual place, Avraham, you have to go. All I wanted to do was meditate and float all day with the angels. And I'm like, I went up there and I'm telling you honestly, I felt complete desolation. Complete desolation. And it wasn't the police and it wasn't the Arab caretakers and it wasn't the tour guides. It was the land itself. It was the emanation on Har HaBayit, was the emanation like we read in Eicha Yashva Badad V'Yidom, how the almanah, the widow, sits in mourning. You felt the mourning on Har HaBayit. This is what's happening up there because the landlord isn't there. Now, of course, Hashem is the landlord, but his caretakers, the Jewish people, are still not really there. And so this is part of our process of decision. What's it going to take? Well, we could speculate, but it's probably better not to speculate on Facebook Live because who knows what's going to bounce back. But I think that we all know that you can't build the base Hashem by spilling blood. Okay? The house of God is a house of prayer for all the nations, and it doesn't make sense that this house is going to be built on the blood of human beings because it's contradictory to the whole idea of worshiping God. Because the whole idea of worshiping God is to bring humanity together, to get us to stop fighting, to get us to stop warring with each other, to create a universal covenant with all of humanity. And so I don't believe it's going to be a war. I don't believe it's going to be with guns and bullets and rockets and tanks. It's going to build that house. I think it's going to be through this maturity process that we're all going through, that the government has to go through, that all the governments have to go through, that the goyim, the nations that surround us, that don't want us here, have to go through it as well. Now, what causes that to happen, that's more speculation we're not going to go into now. So, there's a little story I heard from a fellow in shul that what's this first temple, second temple, third temple, what's it like? It's like a mother. She makes a new suit of clothes for her son for Shabbat. Beautiful jacket, pants, shirt, the whole works. And she gives it to him Friday afternoon. He goes, gets cleaned up, he puts on his new clothes, he's like a new person. The young man, he goes out into the yard, his brothers and sisters are out there, next thing you know, he comes back in, the suit's all dirty, there's a tear here, there's a stain there. It's like, what happened? It's a brand new suit, how could you? Okay, don't worry. Take off the suit, I'll wash it, you'll put it back on. So that's what mom does. She takes off the suit, she wipes it down, cleans it up, and he puts it back on. It goes off to shul. A little later, he puts on his suit again, and he goes out early again on Friday. And now he's a teenager, and he comes back, there's a real tear, it's got to be sewn, and there's buttons missing, and, who knows, he ate a shawarma before Shabbos, and those things don't seem to not able to drip, right? And so she's like, oh my God, your suit. Again? This happened? So she takes the suit off. She says, I'll clean it, I'll wash it, but it's not going to be ready till next week. So she has to wash and clean and sew and repair the suit and give it back to him. She gives it back to him. Now, he's growing up. And he wants to get married. And he needs a suit for his wedding. And his mom says, I remember you and your suits. I'm going to hang this suit in the closet, and you're not going to touch it until your wedding day. So that's a little metaphor to teach us something about the Bayit Rishon. The little kid, he goes out, he doesn't quite know how to take care of that suit. The teenager, he's got an idea about how to take care of the suit, but he can't control himself with his friends. The suit gets ruined again. The third suit, it's waiting on the shelf, hanging in the rack, and mom is like, the Shekhinah saying, when you're ready to get married, on your wedding day, you'll have this suit ready for you. And that's really another idea about the third Beit HaMikdash, that it's ready there, it's waiting, it's hanging in the closet. But we've got to be ready for the wedding day. Okay, so I think all of us, each in our place and each with our tests and our challenges, can appreciate this process that we're in. And there's no way out of the process. The only way is to exercise our choice as Tzelem Elokim, because we are made in the image of God, and that image is the power of choice. And I bless all of us to be here for that great wedding day and to find our place in Am Yisrael, to find our place in that great upheaval of spiritual energy that's going to bring the rest of Am Yisrael back to our ancestral land, till every Jew finds his place here. There's plenty of hillsides over here. There's plenty of real estate. Okay, so we just need more people to come and to discover what it means to be part of this redemption process. So God willing, we'll have a great week this week and a rebuilding. Remember, we're starting with a new slate, clean, new with Hashem. And the summer now is the time we're building towards Tu B'Av, another metaphor of wedding. And then, of course, Rosh Hashanah and Elul, the preparation for the great union with Hashem. And the year begins again. And we're part of that cycle that's never going to end.